The liking gap. Can you judge whether people like you? Striking up a conversation with someone you don't know is an occurrence that most of us do regularly, perhaps even every day. A new colleague you've just met at work for the first time, a neighbour who's just recently moved onto your street, or even just the person sitting next to you when you're waiting for the bus or train. But when your initial introductory conversation is finished and you have continued along your way, do you often stop to wonder what they thought of you and the conversation you've just had together? Maybe you think to yourself, did I overstep my bounds just then? Or did I talk too much? Did they think I was being boring? The anxieties and uncertainties which can arise after having a conversation with someone who you don't really know haven't been readily studied before. But now some new research published recently has explored whether people are actually able to make an accurate assessment of what people thought of them. In other words, does your judgment of how you behave during a conversation with a stranger match up with their actual perception? Or is there a mismatch? What this research revealed is that there often is a mismatch, and that after an introductory conversation, people are actually liked by the other person more than they think they are. In other words, people systematically underestimate how much their conversation partners like them and enjoyed their company. They called this mismatch the liking gap, to reflect the fact that other people like us more than we think they do. What's more, they found that this liking gap persisted regardless of whether the introductory conversation was over a short, medium, or longer period of time, meaning that it isn't necessarily anything to do with the duration of the conversation. In addition, the bias suggests that people are more likely to be negative about their own conversation than about other people's conversations. The author suggests that each of us has an inner critic inside our brain who is constantly monitoring our social conversations, perhaps in an effort to continually strive to do better next time. One possible reason for why people exhibit this liking gap is because they're not only evaluating the external circumstances of the conversation, such as what they've said and how the other person responded, but they're also taking into account the emotional insecurities and self-conscious feelings inside their own head, which are not necessarily visible to the listener. However, when people are making these critical self-judgments, they often forget that they have actually been fine-tuning their social behaviours over their whole lifetime, so that it's acceptable and even likeable. They've learnt that they should be gazing, laughing, smiling, pausing, gesturing, taking turns in ways that fit the conversation, synchronising these overt behaviours with their conversation partner. But because this is fine-tuning, it's typically done at a subconscious level. We often don't think very much about how well honed our social and conversational behaviours actually are. So next time you find yourself evaluating a conversation you've just had with someone unfamiliar, don't be so hard on yourself.